Hi folks, Ash here from BeingSwenglish, and this video is a bit of a life hack. Now, if you don't know what the term life hack means, well, first of all, in Swedish, it's livshack, I believe. And a life hack is a way of finding a workaround in a system that's available to you that makes life easier, where you're not necessarily using that thing or that service in the way it's meant to be used, but you're using it in a way to get things done quicker. And this one is about sending packages. Now, when you sell something online, it can be a little bit daunting because as a seller, you don't really want to be sending off your valuable goods without receiving payment first. But on the other hand, as a buyer, you don't want to be paying for something until you've got it. Now, there's no happy medium here if there's just the buyer and the seller involved, but that's where this life hack really helps. Now, this is applicable to Sweden, but it might be available in other countries as well. I just don't know. So I've just sold a drone, for example. The drone I sold was about 10,000 krona, so that's just under £1,000. And obviously that's a lot of money. Now, it's a lot of money for my buyer to spend out, and it's an expensive premium product for me to send before I've actually got the money for it. But what you can do is when you've advertised a product on Facebook or on Blockit or anywhere that you've advertised it, or even if it's just, you've agreed to buy something from somebody, not on an electronic medium, you can then send it via what's called blocketpaket. Now, blocketpaket is a service from, believe it or not, Blockit. But it does depend on you having an advert on Blockit. So if you've already advertised it on Blockit, you're fine. All you need to do is go into the option on Blockit to edit your listing and then click the option that says add shipping option. And basically that will then add the ability for your buyer to be able to use that service. Now, if you've not, first of all, advertised it on Blockit, it's really simple. When you agree to buy something from somebody, let's say on Facebook, just go to Blockit, create a really basic advert, and then list your product. It gets approved within about an hour or so, because when you create a new listing, it needs to be approved. And then your listing will be on Blockit. Now, all you do then is, once it's approved, again, go into the advert. After you've added the advert, then the option to add the shipping appears. It doesn't appear when you're creating the advert. Now, what you do next is very simple. You send a link to your advert to your buyer, and they just send you a message via Blockit. And then at the top of that message, there'll be an option that says send Blockit packet request to this buyer. And that then initiates the whole process. It confirms the price to you. And believe it or not, this is what's great about it. Up to 5 kilograms, it's 110 krona. That's £10 to send a package that weighs 5 kilograms anywhere in Sweden. Now, it gets better than this because not only is it including the shipping, but it includes tracking, it includes insurance, and it includes an escrow service. Now, if you don't know what that is, I'll explain that in a minute. But anyway, so once you've clicked and sent this Blockit packet request to your buyer, it sends them an email and they just basically just need to go and pay. And Blockit packet sends them a secure payment gateway and they send their money. Now, the money doesn't go to you immediately as a seller. What actually happens is it goes in like a holding account. That's what's called an escrow. And in that holding account, the money sits. And then basically once it's been paid, so me as a seller, I know that my buyer has actually sent the money, not to me, but it's in this safe place. I then get a label emailed to me from Blockit Packet, a pre-described label, and I print it out, stick it on my box, and then take my packet out to the nearest DB Schenker. So they use DB Schenker, one of the big shippers in Sweden, as their courier. And they have loads of little outlets like ICA and little corner shops. You can take it to pretty much any of them. Drop it with them, and as soon as they scan it, you get an email to say, your package has been sent. It also then sends the buyer a message to say the package is on its way, which is really nice, and it gives them tracking details. And that's the great thing about this, really, because then as a buyer, I know that I've sent my valuable goods off, that they're insured and that they're safe, that they're tracked, and also that the money is there waiting for me. Now, you might be wondering, well, what happens next? So when the packet then arrives at the customer's place, and that will be probably a DB Schenker pickup place like a shop or ICA, They go and pick it up, and as soon as it's scanned, as soon as that packet is handed to them, the money goes into my bank account. Isn't that brilliant? Now, let's say the buyer isn't happy with the goods. So let's say the goods are not as described, or they're not happy, or they're not functioning as they're expected. So there is for the buyer, there's a bit of protection there as well. But from a seller perspective, I get my money as soon as it arrives with the seller. I know the seller's received it because it's been scanned, and all of that up to 5 kilograms for 110 kroner. It's such an absolute bargain. So just to recap, if you want to use blocketpaket, you really need an advert on Blockit. So you need to have advertised it on Blockit initially. But if you haven't advertised it on Blockit initially, I did it last night. I sold this drone via Facebook. It took me 1 minute to create the most basic listing on Blockit, and it cost me on Blockit, I think it was 30 kroner to create the advert as well. So you do have to pay on Blockit. So this is the other great thing as well, that 110 kroner, or whatever the shipping cost might be, depending on the weight of the product, but up to 5 kilograms, 110 is paid by the buyer. So when you send them that first blocketpaket request after they've messaged you via Blockit, it adds the price of the shipping onto the total money due, and then that's the money that they pay to the Blockit escrow. It's a really, really good system, and I'd never ever heard of this, having lived in Sweden for over a year now, and I doubt that many of you out there have heard of this either. If you go to the post office, you see the PostNord boxes that you can buy, or if you go to the ICA PostNord desk, you'll see that you can buy these boxes, and they're very, very small. They're probably only about this big actually, but they cost a lot of money to buy. And there's no escrow there. You're just sending your goods off, whereas this includes all of that tracking and that safety factor as well. So it's a really good service. I hope this is useful. If I've not described this very clearly, then do comment below. But hopefully this is going to be useful for you guys who do a lot of buying and selling in Sweden, because even as a buyer, you can also ask your seller if you can use Blocketpaket. That's what happened here. I'd never heard of it. The guy bought the drone from me. He's in Stockholm. And he said to me, hey, let's use Blocketpaket. And so, even if you are buying something from someone on Facebook, you know what Facebook sellers are like. They're notoriously annoying and infuriating. So say to them, let's do this via Blocketpaket. And that gives you both peace of mind. And that's the way to sell it to them, that it's not only for your peace of mind, but theirs as well. Anyway, I'm off to the ICA now to drop off my parcel and get it sent underway with Blocketpaket. Hope this video has been useful, folks. And this is a life hack I didn't know anything about, so I have to thank the buyer of my drone for telling me all about it. But do comment on this video below. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've used it as well and what you think about it. Give the video a thumbs up, and if you like this kind of random Swenglish content and you laugh at me trying to speak Swedish, then hit that subscribe button below, because it really means a lot seeing this channel grow. Tack så mycket allihopa. Vi ses snart. Hej då!